explaining how to put a quadratic into vertex form by completing the square. So first we know that our standard form for a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c. And we know that vertex form is a times x minus h squared plus k. So we first start off with our equation in standard form as 2x squared minus 4x plus 5. Now since we'll be completing the square, we will isolate the x squared and the x terms. So we move the plus 5 to the other side of the equal sign, making it y minus 5 equals 2x squared minus 4x, as seen right here. Now if we look in our first step, in our next step, it says y minus 5 equals 2 times x squared minus 2x. Now what we're doing here is we need a leading coefficient of 1 for completing the square. So we factor out the current leading coefficient of 2. Now you see in this next one, we have a bunch of boxes. So this is where we will create our square trinomial. So in the previous step, we are taking the leading coefficient as 1. As our other equations, were set to equal 0. Now we have to deal with an additional variable, y. So we cannot get rid of the factor 2. When we add to the box of both sides, the box will be multiplied by 2 on both sides of the equal sign. So to find the perfect square trinomial, we take half of the coefficient of the x term inside of the parentheses, square it, and place it in the box, making that 1 inside of each box. So now we'll simplify and convert to the right side to a squared expression, making that y minus 3 equals 2 times x minus 1 squared. So now we will isolate the y term, so we move the 3 over to the other side of the equal sign, making that y equals 2 times x minus 1 squared plus 3. In some cases, you may need to transform the equation to the exact vertex form of y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So showing the subtraction sign in the parentheses before the k term, the addition of the k term. So this is not needed in the problem. So now we are ended up with it in vertex form of y equals 2 times x minus 1 squared plus 3. So now we can take that vertex form and we can make it into our vertex. So up here we have a times x minus h squared plus k. Now in order to put that in vertex form, once it's in vertex form, our vertex is always hk as our x and y values as our vertex. So when we put it into the vertex, we have our h here, and the thing about the h is that it is always the opposite value of what it says here. So here it says -1, but we are going to change it to +1. And k stays the same as 3. So now we know our vertex is 1, 3. And that is how we find the vertex of putting the vertex form of complete.